Yeah.
So, Bill, your overall thoughts on how the deadline went? Did you have a plan going in, and how'd it go?
Well, we had a plan going in. Obviously, there was. When you're in this process, you're trying to move bodies and create assets, and that at the end of the day, I thought we did it extremely well and executed our plan. We were able to move Chick and get some great assets back from that, but along also Ghost and Bukestad, and touch it up at the end and add 2 prospects with Kesselring and sorry, I forgot Mackey, Connor Mackey, and both are really big D men that have a good projection. So we're really excited. Not too many times can you go through a deadline and add 8 draft picks and 2 good prospects. So it was a big couple days for us.
I know you have a big staff, but when you're navigating so many trades that are so complex, how do you keep your head from spinning? How do you even keep organized on something like this?
It's an interesting question because I think as you go along, you get better at it. I think when we did the OEL deal, you really try and break it down per player and kind of get organized. And nowadays, the deadline seems to be here, and you're so prepared a month to 2 months out that when you get to it, it's actually pretty easy in that sense because you've done so much work on the deals.
Bill, there's been a lot of perceptions of the Jacob Chick trade. How
Yeah.
do you break it down?
Well, it was great value for us. I think people forget a couple things. You know, when you're trading a high-end player such as him, and you're dealing with the amount of man games that he had lost because of injury, I don't care who you're talking to. You're gonna at some point the team on the other end of the line is going to ask for a discount, and that's not always easy to move. And I thought we did a tremendous job of getting him healthy after his surgeries in the summer, getting him back up and running, getting him in a good role with the team, and he did a great job. And then he came back, and then we, obviously we took him out due to the, the last part of it. But it's not always easy moving that. I think what we did and tried to get out of this deal were, number one, pick as high as we could. Now we could have looked like rock stars here and accumulated this and this and this, but at the end of the day, what we went for is what's the highest pick we could get. And, we could have got 2 first-rounders at the back of the first round, doesn't equal to what we think we can get with Ottawa. Now, it's a little risky because you don't know where they're going to finish, but that's a chance we're willing to take, and the 2 back picks that we got are going to be excellent picks.
Did you, a lot, the other perception is some people think that you just sanctioned him to Siberia, and did you know that he, has so much, his sister lives there, his grandpa,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
knew all that?
There's a kinder, gentle side to a GM on the other side when you're doing the deal. Jacob was very, very professional. He was very good to the Coyotes over the years, and if there was something that we could kind of do, and I called him after the deal and I said, listen, we tried it with this team, didn't work, this team didn't work, but I knew this one does, and this is where your family, so there was that on the other side, and he's a really good person, and he's done a lot for this organization. So if we could do a little on the way back, we try to do that too. That was probably the nice part of the deal.
Yeah. You have 52 draft picks in the next 4 drafts.
Yeah.
How the heck do you manage that now?
Well, that's part of the game plan.
Yeah.
That's what we went in and we really set out to do, and it's really interesting because it's probably has never been done before in the National Hockey League. And when we were going through this process, we were studying a lot of things. One of the ones we studied were the Houston Rockets, actually, and they talked about how they went out and bought a player. And that was always our thought process: if we could stock enough picks back there, when someone comes up at the draft, we're able to do that and go out and buy players at a certain time. But also, when we go into drafts, it enables us to move up on the draft floor and enables us to get some really quality players in the draft with that amount of picks.
Does it get to the point in that situation where even the scouts are like, yeah, you can go ahead and move some of those? Scouts love to have as much.
Oh no, those guys are home run hitters. They're always going to swing. You know what I mean? They can't get enough. Yeah. The problem is that Daryl and RJ are getting too used to the amount of times they get to swing compared to the rest of the field. Yeah.
Have you decided, evidently, that you have a core of players here now that you're building on that you don't want to get let go?
Yeah.
Like the Schmaltzes and Kellers and the goalies.
Yeah,
It's a little different than in the past.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things that kind of got overlooked. Everyone got carried away with the chicken, but we didn't move any of our core guys, the Vejmelkas, even the Ingrams that have played well, the Mosers and Valimakis that have come in. We all kept that core, and if you look at Schmaltz and Keller, they've really done a nice job at finding chemistry. And I was watching old tape last night of Kane and Panarin. They had it on the Ranger game and showing those guys are very similar in some ways about how they control the play when they're out there. So we wanted to keep that chemistry together. The Barrett Haydens, the McBains, the Krauses, the Michellis, they're still all here. So it was a tremendous, probably one of the best deadlines I've ever been a part of.
Was there a lot of market for Schmaltz, especially with how hot he's been lately?
There's always market for hot players such as him, and I think he's one of the hottest goal scorers in this last month. He's a wanted commodity, and I think it was you're always going to get calls on those guys, the Krauses of the world, the Kellers of the world. People are going to talk, and that's the way it is. But at the end of the day, we kept our core together here, and we're very happy with them, and we've felt like they've taken a step this year.
And that was a conscious decision to keep those guys. So you're never really entertaining any serious offers on those guys?
We always look. I mean, listen, I got to do my part as a GM. That's my job in there. You always have to look what's on the other side. But our main goal is to get through and not move those pieces that we like.
Same with Krause too. I mean,
Yeah.
Krause always says that he's kind of a Bill Armstrong type player.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he is. Listen, who doesn't like Lawson Krause? I mean, every GM in the NHL likes the way that he plays, the size, the speed, and the little touch of scoring. So he's obviously a wanted commodity, and those guys are hard to find. Now, I said this last year. The first thing you do is if you trade Lawson Krause, what are you looking for? Lawson Krause. So why would we do that? And we've followed those lines of keeping our core together, and it was an effective deadline for us.
So now you're in the situation where with that core and the 52 draft picks,
Yeah.
now moving forward is where you want to be.
Yeah, it's someone asked me where are you in the rebuild, and I answered the other day about 40%. I'd say with the amount of assets that we added, we're getting to 50%. Like if you look at one thing that we've fully completed is that if we sat here and did nothing to 2026, the end of that draft, we would be in great shape. We just would draft, and those are all in place. So if we just simply follow the process and keep drafting well and keep doing what we're doing, we're going to be in great shape. I'd have to say I've never seen, the amount of picks stacked behind a team before that we have. So.
Can you the philosophy of all the LTI, like where does that come? And the same thing, perception. I mean, do you apologize at all?
No, not at all. We do business in here. Those are the rules, and we operate within the rules. And it helps this franchise to unload at the deadline and make sure that we have enough cap to be compliant. So we're not going to apologize for that. In the summer, if we do the same, we're always going to have that cap there, and we can be very, very flexible to continue to do the rebuild and at the same time be at league standards and in compliance.
How did you come up with trade-related reasons? The term. I mean, is it just to?
Well, like I tell my assistants all the time, I said if it works, it's ours.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, it's yours. So that was ours.
Yeah. But I mean, it also it almost saves you a lot of hassle of having to deal with insiders texting you like, "Why is this guy scratching?"
There were a lot of people that copied that afterwards.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, does that transparency just make why hide it type thing?
Yeah, I mean, listen, those players are assets. If they get hurt for you at that time and you're on the phone, doing that, you're always going to look back saying, "Listen, I missed an asset to move for our club." So when you're in heated discussions and you're talking, I think it was wise of us, that we made those calls to pull those people out of the game, because at the end of the day, we're all standing here with the assets that we needed because of that. One of the agents tweeted out something about Bukestad, and God love Ben Hankinson, the agent. I mean, I love him to death, but that was there to protect their player and our asset, and for him for a chance to go win a championship and for a chance to get our asset. So I think that's smart business.
Did you trademark the phrase?
What's it?
Did you trademark the phrase yet?
But we will get there. We will get there. Yes. Yeah.
But even Doug Armstrong, he said after both O'Reilly and Tarasenko came back, like, hey, or no, sorry, Thomas. Or no, it was Tarasenko.
Yeah.
That I kind of regret.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly a delicate way of handling it, but I think we were able to get our assets and get the player onto some really good teams. So,
on the subject of money and taking money back,
Yeah.
can you explain your thinking there? I think there's some maybe perception that you can't take any back, but it might be strategic.
Well, yeah, we can take money back. There was a lot of deals that would again make us look like rock stars, and we would have got all, but we would have taken somewhere between $3.1 and $5.1 million back on the club. Why would we take someone's debt when next year we can use that money to create more assets? So for us, it was just smart. It's smart business with dollars, And we had to fight for that. That's why we probably took a lot of length, with the time it took to get to the deal done, because we didn't want to be saddled with all that money coming back our way. And it's hard for championship clubs. They've got money in, it's money out. So it's very hard to do deals with just everybody. You get to a limited amount of clubs that you can deal with, but at the end of the day, that's going to allow us to create.
So was the 25% in the Kane deal, was that fairly negligible?
Yeah, that was very little. I think it was $176,000. Yeah, less than $200. So it was a bargain on getting a third rounder. And we look for those value deals all the time we can. We created a lot of assets through that process of just scraping and battling and trying to acquire picks. And we're at the stage where we can do that. So I felt we maximized that during the deadline.
You guys, were Kesselring and Mackey on your radar? Did they just kind of pop up as a deadline deal?
Well, they all, that's your job of your pro scouts, is to get into that field. And the way that we divide them up is the scouts know the minor league team and they know the big team, and they got to hammer that out. That's their job, is to know those guys. And when they sit there, is like when you're going through the process, they're basically telling you, from meetings before, I love this guy, this is the guy we want. They want a defenseman that's offensive, take this guy. So that's their job. So I felt we were very, very prepared for that, and they'd been on Kesselring for a long time, and so he's going to get a great opportunity tonight against one of the best clubs in the National Hockey League.
What is it you like about him? He's got 13 goals down.
Yeah, he's got a great shot. He's a big man. He can move fairly well, can move the puck. He can kind of do a little bit of everything. His shot, whenever you get a defenseman, we had it with Joel Edmondson and Robert Pertuzzo the year that in the Paraycos of the world and the Jay Bowmeisters. I mean, if they can create some form of offense anywhere from 3 to 5 goals and everybody chips in, that can change the way that you look as a team. So we liked his offense from the backside. And all those goals were created 5-on-5 too. So it's...
Any funny background stuff on the Richie deal, or you talked to Nick and?
Well, I did. He was inquiring who he would get traded for, and I didn't want to say because I wasn't sure that the other GM Brad Trevelyan had told him. So I said, I'll make a deal with you. I'll tell you, but you can't tell anyone. and I said, this is going to be cheap housing. You can go into his house and he can go into your house, and you guys don't have to move cars or anything. So I think it's the first brother for brother trade.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Very cool.
Did you hear any reaction from the brothers about being traded for one another?
Well, I think the good news is Nick, when he was here, kind of refound his game. I thought he was in great shape. I thought he asked everything we asked of him, he did. So I think his brother would be familiar with what Arizona's like and the quality of living with the quality of coaching and just how we operate down here. So I think that gives us a leg up when his brother comes to town.
And when will that be? When will he?
I think he'll be in tonight at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is it hard to trade a guy like Bukestad, who had such a presence in the locker room, or is it just another part of the deadline?
Our team is, it's interesting because we were the team is really close. I know when they went on vacation at the All-Star break, they all went together. That kind of amazed me as you're going through the rebuild. That doesn't often happen. Our club is very, very close, and our guys were just unbelievable people, from the Ghosts, to the Bukestads of the world, and even Richie and Stetcher, just tremendous people. It hurts, when you have to move them on. But they know the deal coming in. We try to be very transparent and honest as we come up to the deadline, what we're thinking, and so they kind of expect it in some way. I think they're excited about the opportunity for Nick to go to Edmonton, one of the best teams in the National Hockey League, and play with Mr. McDavid. It's an opportunity and it's a privilege.
Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you.
Hey, West Walls.